Hello, welcome to another Tonalist landscape oil painting demonstration. This is your painter in residence, M. Francis McCarthy, and the painting that I am bringing you today is it's a nice little 4x6, and it's called Sunset Road. I painted this back in August, which is about the time I think I stopped putting videos up on YouTube, and I'm still not actually using YouTube very much. If I do use YouTube, I basically jump on, grab the video I want, and jump off. And the reason for this is because of their desire to censor free speech. And I've talked about that before. I'm not going to get into that extensively here because if you cared, you wouldn't be on YouTube listening to me. Maybe you do care. I'll give you some credit. Maybe you care, but the fact of the matter is that I've had quite a few people pretty much just asking me to do this again, and on the YouTube, and I thought, well, I'm not a user, but I may as well just drop something on there. And I'm not a person who's terribly invested in building a gigantic audience. However, I know people get some value from what I do and share on YouTube, and most of those people are people that are trying to create art, real art, in their own lives. And for them, YouTube's just a resource. They may not be aware of the dire consequences of internet censorship, although it is a problem. It's a real problem. My feeling is, though, that YouTube's going to suffer for its fate in one way, or suffer the fate that it deserves, in one way or another. And I don't see a big reason for people that want to learn about this style of painting to suffer any more than they have from my absence. Although, plenty of people have been going to my website, and I have been posting on BitChute, and I think it's called Bright Eon. Now, it used to be called Real Video. I see those videos get quite a few hits, but no real comments, no real interaction. So I really don't know who's watching or why. And not that there's ever been tons of it on YouTube either, but there's been enough that I sort of got a sense of the sort of people that were enjoying my work and enjoying my videos. And so for that reason, I'm going to go ahead and publish this on YouTube as per usual. But I warn you, I'm not terribly invested in building a giant following. I just am basically interested in sharing with people that have an affinity for what I do. Maybe you're a painter yourself, and you want to learn more about painting. And I know, and I've said this before. In fact, this is one of the things. Good reason that I haven't put up or done a video even on my website in about 2 or 3 weeks. And one of the reasons for this is that I have said most everything I ever thought I would need to say, but that's okay. You take a big break, and you think of new ways to say the same old things, and that's pretty much what I'm going to do. I think, I try and do one a week, and I will continue to put the videos up on BitChute, because I'm a big believer in Bright Eon. I don't know. I don't love them. I love BitChute. I've been going to BitChute quite a lot. If you're not familiar with it, I should head on over. There's a lot of content there that's censored on YouTube, and censored content is the content that interests me most. I have very little interest in official opinions from mainstream news sources. Not to get conspiratorial on you, and I will never have, really, because this channel is about art. It's about painting. But I will say that I have very little interest in mainstream news or mainstream views, and So I get a lot of news information from BitChute. If you're not familiar with it and you're a curious person, you should tip on over there. By the way, you sort of know that they're onto something because they've had their funding. They've had their funding. Not so much their funding pulled, but the ability to be funded has been pulled by PayPal, which will tell you that topics are being discussed there that are definitely bothering the people that are running the world, and we'll just leave it there. So, like I said, if you're not somebody who's already awake, you're probably not that interested in becoming awake, but you may still want to paint, so you can watch me paint, or as per usual, you can turn off the sound and crank up some BGs or something. Just watch the painting happen and go from there. Now let's talk a little about this painting. So I know it took me 5 minutes to get to that, but this is one of these ones where I've decided, okay, I'm just going to do everything in golden/yellow tones. So we have a spectrum, and I don't even think I get into green. Sometimes when I do this, I'll push things into a green. I just did a study today. I'm back into doing master studies. That's another reason this sort of prompted me, because I know the master studies are pretty popular because people have a hunger, and I have an interest in the artists whose work I'm making studies of. I have an interest in them becoming more known and more popular, and I believe my videos are responsible for just a little bit more of that. But it's bringing the right kind of thing back into the world. It's moving us away from all this garbage modern art that really offends me and offends the sensibilities of most reasonable and rational people, and those that aren't into art might just say all art is nonsense because of that. So but if you have an interest in beauty, as I do, or creating something moving, these guys are really good. And Francis Murphy is one I was doing a study of today. It was kind of a scene sort of like this. It's a golden sunset, but he's done some interesting things in his. First of all, he's brought in greens. It's not just golds and reds. And also he's brought in some grays, and the grays are like tinted with like an alizarin crimson or something. It's a very cool painting. Actually, you can find a study of it on my channel. I've done two. I've done one that was small and one that's larger. The one that was larger I sold to somebody, and I thought, well, I'd like to have one. I'd like to have one around just for myself. So I started on that today, and it's really interesting. My approach is different. It's changed just in the time since I've done the last study, which was maybe 6-7 months ago. I've evolved, and one of the things that's evolved is I'm still working on the textured boards, but I make an effort now to remove a good amount of the texture. So what's left, the residue that's left, is just organic. It's broke up, but it's not distracting, especially when the light might hit it from a certain angle, which was one of the things I sort of wrangled with. I have a video on my texturing process, both my initial process and my advanced process, and you can find that on my channel as well. I think you can go to any channel on YouTube and do a search. I think on my channel you would just type in board prep. Anyway, so this painting, I don't get any greens. I'm basically working with my Hansa yellow, my permanent orange, a little bit of perline red. Burnt sienna is definitely a factor. The umber color, the burnt umber coloration of the board is very prevalent and left quite alone in many spots. This Murphy I was doing today is sort of a similar thing, but he brings in the greens and the grays, like I said. And I've done that before too. I might bring in greens or grays that are complementary. If I was to bring a green into this, I would slam a heck of a lot of the burnt sienna tone into that. And by burnt sienna, I mean transparent earth red from Gamblin. Actual original burnt sienna is not... It's only semi-transparent, and I like my sienna tone to be 100% transparent. Speaking of, this Hansa Yellow, I thought, well, it just looks like cadmium, And I recently read an article that said cadmium was not going to conflict with lead white, which is one of my paints I use. So I got me a little tube and I play with it, and it's fine. But for making what the color I call Mike's Green, which is Hansa Yellow and Ivory Black, it doesn't work at all. It looks like mud. It looks icky. Where the Hansa Yellow is a lot more transparent and a lot less sticky, I guess. Opaque. I don't know exactly the other words, but it will make a green mixed with black, but it's kind of a pasty, ugly green. Whereas the Hansa Yellow is beautiful. Anyway, getting close to the end. Thanks for joining me today. I'll be back with another one, and hopefully trying this on a weekly basis for you. Meanwhile, take good care. Stay out of trouble.